Everyone gets tired of command lines and terminal screens at some point in their life. That's where we need GUI applications. Docker provides a feature-rich GUI with its Enterprise Edition, and it is called UCP. But since this course is free and it only covers content which is free to access and set up, we will use a third-party GUI for Docker called Kitematic. Kitematic is a well-made open-source GUI application for Docker which supports single-host Docker instances at the moment. Without further talk, let's jump straight to its GitHub page where we can download its binaries. Go to your favorite web browser and navigate to this address. As you can see, Kitematic is available for all popular platforms like Windows and Linux. We will download binaries for Ubuntu Linux. The current version of Kitematic is 0.17.3, which might have been updated by the time you are watching the course. Once the downloading process is complete, let's head to Downloads directory on our host machine. Let's extract it here. As we go deeper, we will see a tar inside the tar, so let's extract that too. Finally, we have a tar file called data which needs to be extracted as well. I know, too much extractions, right? Inside data, we have a directory called bin which contains the executable called Kitematic. Simply double click on it and Kitematic GUI will be up and running. Just to give you a brief understanding, Kitematic talks to both Docker host and Docker Hub. The GUI is pretty simple and interactive. It is easy to predict at this stage that these are the repos on Docker Hub along with their pulls. But let's not go too fast. This home page has a lot to offer. First of all, we have the login option which allows us to link our Docker Hub account to Kitematic. Then we have a big search bar for Docker images which are fetched from Docker Hub. Then we have recommended or featured images. On the right side, we have tabs like My Repo and My Images. My Repos show repos on your current Docker Hub account. It will show nothing since we haven't synced them yet. In other words, this is just a plain GUI with no Docker Hub account linked to it yet. My Images will show images available on our local host machine. If you notice, these images from various modules do look quite familiar. On the lower end of the left side, we have a small gear icon which represents app settings. You can customize them the way you want. We will keep them as they are. Then we have a chat tool, which we don't need at this point of time. And finally, we have a link to Docker CLI. Clicking this will open a terminal window for us to use Docker commands. Let's close it. We have a list of recommended images by Docker on our screen, and we can create a container based on any image available here with a single click. Isn't it amazing? Let's check out how we can do it. We will select Hello World Nginx image, which is a lightweighted customized Nginx image to demonstrate features of Kitematic. At the bottom of Hello World Nginx, we have the number of downloads and likes for the image on the left side and a create button on the right side. Let's click on the create button to create and run a container based on this image. And there you go. Docker is connecting to Docker Hub to download the image Hello World Nginx because it is not available on our local registry. It might take some time to download the image. After the process completes, our container will be created successfully. You must have noticed the container log screen here. It will show log outputs of the current running containers. We have 0 number of logs for Hello World container for now because it has just been created. You might as well remember the difference between created and running states of a container. When the container is created, it won't have any logs, but as soon as it gets running, we'll have some logs of our container. On the left side of the container log screen, there is a list of running and stopped containers. It even includes those containers which are not started by Kitematic. We do not have any pre-running or stop containers at this point of time, so the only available container is Hello World Nginx. We also have the volume section at the bottom right corner of the screen. It is the volume website files which is mounted on our running container Hello World. We can enable the volume in order to edit the files stored in it. Let's click on Enable Volumes and see what happens. We have been directed to the path home/documents/kitematic/hello world nginx on our local machine. Kitematic has exposed the container's volume as a directory on our local machine, which allows the users to access it easily. As we access the volume website_files, we can see the default index.html. One important thing to notice here is, as soon as we enabled volumes for editing, the Nginx container stopped running. It was removed and restarted with a new volume flag to reflect any changes made in the volumes. We have not made any changes in the volume here. Above volumes, on the top right corner, we have web preview section. It will allow us to see the container's result on our web browser. Let's maximize the web preview to have a good look at it. Hello World Nginx container is running on localhost port 32769. Let's get back to Kitematic and verify the results using Docker CLI on its terminal. Type docker ps-a to list out all of the running and stopped containers. The result reassures that Hello World Nginx container is running successfully on the same port. Let's return to Kitematic and stop the container. As we can see, there are multiple icons available exactly above the container logs section. We have stop, restart, exec and docs icons here. And as their names suggest, stop and restart icons are used to stop and restart containers. Exec icon is used to execute a command on a running container. Docs icon will direct us to Docker documentation. Our container has been stopped. Navigate to the left side of the screen where all containers are listed. We want to delete this container. So click on the cross icon to remove the container. A dialog box will pop up to ask your confirmation about deletion process. Press remove and our container has been deleted and we are back to home screen. We can also search for a particular image here. It is similar to Docker search command. Just type the name of the Docker image that you want to search. We will search for the image of Docker registry itself, so we will type registry and press enter. We got all the Docker images which include registry in their names. The first result is the official Docker registry image with 419 million downloads. Just like Hello World Nginx, we can play around with this or any other images as well. So, this was Kitematic, the Docker GUI. You can play around with it further, and you can even link your own Docker Hub account to use it interactively.